Hey everyone, Rob from Karma Comic Chameleon coming at you with another AskReddit thread. Goodwill thrift shop workers, what are some of the strangest things you found in the donations? Let's jump right in. Someone donated an entire trash bag full of dirty diapers, sex toys, lots of sex toys. Some older and more naive workers actually priced them and put them on the sales floor. An old electronic chessboard that was somehow worth $2,000 plus. Some rich old lady came in and donated a Ziploc bag full of gold and platinum jewelry. It was real. Huge Beanie Baby collections. Guess someone finally figured out after 20 years that they weren't a solid investment. It's something you hear about, but I never really saw before. Maybe not the strangest, but you actually do find some cool old stuff people think is worthless. Cool job for a while. I worked in donations. In the same day we got a pickled baby tiger shark and a coin purse made from a kangaroo scrotum. As an Australian, the kangaroo scrotum coin purse isn't all that unusual. Not that I know anyone who uses one, but you can buy one in any souvenir store here. My aunt's a cop and had to go investigate a donated hand grenade. I got a call from my kid's summer camp once letting me know that he had a grenade with him at camp. It was a dummy training grenade, but it's as real as it gets except that it has no charge or primer in it. I can't believe they didn't call the bomb squad. Something I can contribute to. In college, I was one of the people that directed sorted donations. I've seen it all: vibrators, boxes of dildos, a nunchuck collection to name a few. On more than one occasion have we found large amounts of money stashed away in hollowed out books, usually $1,000 plus in new bills. The one story that sticks out the most was this middle-aged man who consistently came on Saturday evenings to donate used underwear. Bags and bags of men's used underwear for almost 3 months straight, then suddenly he just stopped. When I was about 16, I worked at a Goodwill for about 6 months. There was this old homeless man who used to try and sneak inside to sleep and stuff like that. Every day he'd get kicked out pretty quickly by one of my female coworkers. After about a month of working there with her, the homeless man came up to the counter she was working at, gave her a Target bag filled with rocks, and left. We opened the bag and find a doll underneath about a layer of rocks. It was so friggin' creepy. The doll looked exactly like her. We flipped it over and the back had her full name sewn into it. She quit about a couple days later because she was worried about that homeless man coming back to the store. We've had some nipple clamps on a chain, a rampant rabbit with car charger, a jug in the shape of a tit, and a book with a hole in it that you stick your thing in for a novelty puppet show. Oh, and there was also a mobile phone with a bunch of photos of a local policeman wearing his girlfriend's underwear. I securely deleted those. He owes me a get out of jail free card for that. Used journals. Highlights include someone recounting the time they bit someone and a tale of an explosive funeral. They make for a good read, but why wouldn't you throw them out? Decluttering, I threw a journal from my adolescence in the bin, the journal that graphically described my first period at age 11, 14 crushes ranked in order of kissability, mortifying youth group tales, detailed sketches of my fantasy elf wardrobe, dark times I'd rather not remember. Well, my pack rat dad couldn't stand to see a half-full journal on the curb, so he donated it to a thrift store. Apparently, because later someone contacted him by mail to return it. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, stranger. So glad to have that back. Not something I found particularly, but something very strange. Every month and a half or so, a man would come by right before we closed and would donate a single blank CD. Every single time. My coworkers and I would always put it in and see if anything was on it, and there never was. Dirty laundry. It happened so often that we had to wear gloves to go through clothing. Washed everything at least once to be safe. Who gets done wearing their underwear and is like, meh, I'll donate it and not wash it? Edit to answer common questions. No, it wasn't Goodwill. It was a small thrift shop in Chicagoland. In the back we had 7 washers and dryers and a team constantly going through clothing. A lot was thrown out. I did find a shirt with a huge picture of a dead fly on it. A classmate of mine found a human skull that was donated. It still had remnants of human on it. They reported it to the police and turns out it was part of an active murder investigation one state over. A high school diploma still in its leather case, we were selling it for $1.39. Also a porn movie inside a Clifford the Big Red Dog DVD case. I was sorting out some donated items and come across an unusual set of tools. Through some research, we discovered that it was a full transorbital lobotomy tool set. It got donated to a local university for display. Apparently, a vintage set in good condition can sell for around $1,000. I manage a thrift store in NorCal that supports a cat rescue organization. We get strange donations all the time, such as sex toys, from whips to ball gags and vibrators and more than a couple times a week. Ashes. I've got a bag here in my office that has some guy from Florida in it. I keep him around, he wards off ghosts and angry customers. Printed money. One time someone dropped off a backpack full of obviously copied money on big sheets of paper. Secret Service came out and got it and everything. We get lots of interesting old stuff, Victorian cat collar, an 1800s French tapestry, old Sears magazines, vintage records, 8-tracks, etc. We recently got a set of dishes that commemorated a state university. Someone bought them for $900, didn't even know such a thing existed before we got them. Someone donated an old Mac from the mid-90s that still worked. We fired it up and it had all sorts of personal stuff on it. We wiped it and sold it. Remember to wipe your drives, people. A few weeks ago we got a reproduction How to Fang Lord of the Rings sword, pretty cool. I love working here, it's always something new and interesting. I found a full Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face suit. I look fantastic in it. Only $15. A trio of mariachi band figurines that were made of prunes. Wait, are you sure it wasn't the California Raisins? I guess there's technically 4 of them though. Was doing community service at a Goodwill. A Vietnamese guy pulls up, drops off a couple trash bags and dips. We start looking through it all and I find a full 90 count bottle of 10mg oxycodone pills. So how was the rest of your week? He doesn't remember. My manager said she came to the shop once and there were bin bags waiting at the front of the store. It was obvious to her going through the bag that a guy had just tipped all of his ex-girlfriend's possessions into bin bags and had donated them to us. All of her possessions, vibrators included. I was 16 and in charge of going through donations, pricing them, and putting them out for sale. I came across something I didn't recognize, so I did what I always did and slapped 25 cents on it and put it out. A few hours later, a lady brought it back to my boss in the donation room and told her we shouldn't be selling crack pipes. Oops. Finally, a question I can answer. I once found a signed first edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Strange in why would anyone give it away? Managed to buy it for 50p and it's honestly my prized possession today. I was a stalker, not working directly with donations, but goddamn, so many people donate vibrators, all the way from top of the line Hitachi magic wands to retro little metal things that look like a Wiimote. I worked there for a few years, one in AZ and one in OR. An urn with someone's cremated remains happened probably 3 times. Someone once tried to donate live roosters. A little ornate box with about 7 teeth inside. A crocheted jockstrap. So many unique dildos. A Ziploc baggie full of mice bones and fur tufts. Some nerds like 50 plus Maul sword and dagger collection. An 80s cereal collection, Bill and Ted, Count Chocula, Ghostbusters, etc. Roughly 3 hefty bags of Grateful Dead live shows on cassettes, each labeled and track listed. Shoebox of prison letters to a girlfriend, stuff was raunchy. Also, a big shout out FU to the junky people who have dirty needles mixed in with the items they donate. I was a receiving and loading lead at a thrift store for a few years. We had this guy that cleaned out storage units for a living, and then he'd dump whatever he couldn't flip with us for a tax slip. He pulls up and we're going through it all, pretty nice stuff, looked like it was an estate sale. We get it all unloaded and then we start snooping through to see what needs to get brought to where, and we find this green gloss vase filled with sand. I start pouring the sand out into the trash so we could figure if the vase was worth using. That's not sand. Somehow we ended up with an unmarked full urn. I've read here that ashes of cremated loved ones is a super common donation. Lots of people just think it's a vase at recently deceased Aunt Bertha's house. not realizing it actually contains the earthly remains of her husband Chuck. I imagine there are plenty of people who donate it fully knowing what it is. Once again, this is Rob from Karma Comic Chameleon saying thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, and share the video with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.